Hey, Mark.
Good evening, Karen. There we go.
Hi, Matt. Hi, Mark. How you doing?
Doing well on yourself?
I'm good. I think we have Matthew signing in.
Hey.
Mark, I when I set up the Zoom call, I think I made you a co-host automatically, but we can see. I also see the
You did
recording.
because, yeah. Mm.
Yeah, I'm becoming dangerously similar to you in a tiny way. Yeah. Oh, brother. Did you have a good day today, Mark?
It was busy. It was nonstop. I noticed your daffodils up front have a flower pod.
Yeah, they do. It's kind of craziness. It's February.
Yep, yep, yep. I
So,
wonder about our spring temperatures and
yep.
winter
Yeah.
weather and such.
Yeah. It's kind of strange, but anyway. So are they giving you more and more work to do? Are they still piling on work on you, Mark?
Well, I have an event with AB Tech tomorrow with the Vice President, Deborah Bailey, with the Digital Nomads. So it's a first time event, and Barbara's thrilled that we're going to have a dozen plus people there. And
What?
then we have a major job fair coming up where 65 vendors have signed up for February 20th.
Wow.
And they bumped it up from the Virginia Boone building to the Expo building, which
Oh
is
my
huge.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yep. And then likewise,
Look, it's Luann.
yay!
Hey, Luann.
Hi, I know you.
Luann, did you do something to your hair?
It's shorter and yes, it is blonder.
Looks good on you.
Oh, thank you. So I was trying to actually go to my natural color, and I only made it halfway with the hairdresser. So here we are.
Well, I think it looks outstanding. You look great.
Thank you.
Long time no see. Good.
Very excited.
We're glad to have you, Luann. Yay. Yay.
Yay.
Are you in your
So I'm in the house. I Yeah, this is my little nook that I like to read. It's kind of like my little sanctuary. So I thought this was the place I was going to um, be in class with you guys.
great?
The house is um, almost complete. I've got some painting and some baseboards to put down upstairs and moving in. But other than that, it's a full functioning house. Very different from last time.
Wow. Totally awesome. Totally awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. So, well, you look good. Both of you look good. Are you like your new schedule?
Well, this is the beginning of another course, so it becomes a little bit, well, it's a lot to do initially. And
Yes.
then as the course gets cranked up, then it's not so intense. but starting it up is intense. So,
Right. It's
but
a lot
in
of
a
front
lot of
look.
ways, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you
Mm,
look good.
Thank
You,
you. Thank you. Well, it's kind of warm here, maybe in the 60s. What is it there? And where in California are you, Luann?
so it's Northern California. I'm actually about 40 minutes from Sacramento.
Okay, okay.
And I'm in Lodi, so that's a Lodi. Lodi likes to be known for its wine. So there's a lot of wineries around Lodi, and I think Old Vine Zinfandel is probably the signature vineyard. So they have, 200-year-old vineyards that produce this incredible juice. Right. So
Wow.
anyway,
Wow.
what is that song? I'm stuck in Lodi.
You're
It's
stuck in Lodi.
uh, I can't remember the band that did it, but in any event, yeah. So it's raining today, and I would say it's about 60 degrees, but it's breezy and currently raining.
Well, all right then. Well, all right. It was raining here like mad yesterday, but today it's clear. So we had a nice clear day.
Now I am looking at the painting behind you. Is that an oil or is that a
Yes, this is an oil painting done for Greg by his daughter when she was in college. And so
wow?
kind of psychedelic and kind of look,
Correct.
sort of
Right.
look, it's sort of, you could sort of see all kinds of things in there, but
I
I'm in,
like I like the colors.
yeah, the colors are fun.
Right.
So
Right.
he hung it up here and I'm sitting at his keyboard. And then this is called our healing room. So we both come in here intermittently to do our Zooms or say our
Hmm.
prayers or meditate or whatever. It's very cool. So it's very lovely. We're lucky.
Yeah.
We're blessed, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah. So the house you're in is the one that you had with your husband, and then you were going to
Correct.
sell it, and then you decided not to, and then you're going to renovate it. Do I have that story right?
Right. And I actually had it in contract and I pulled out. And the people were very disappointed. I don't blame them, but it was not it was a project at that point. But things weren't lining up for me as to where to go. And so I said, I can't be homeless, and I'm going to take the fact that things are not working out for me. I'm going to need to pull out. And so then I decided to finish the reconstruction of the house.
Oh,
Everybody told me that it was a really tough project. A couple of contractors told me, Copper, I'm going to have to put my dogs in the other room because
okay.
when I'm talking, they think I'm talking to them. But yeah, it was a tough reconstruction. My plumber, who's very skilled, he said it was not a project that he would have even thought could be done. It turned out really nice. So God blessed.
God bless. Awesome.
Yes. Anyway, I'm going to put my doggies in the other room.
Okay. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Well, with my dogs in the background, I'm doing fine. Trying to troubleshoot some of these things.
Yeah. Well, welcome, welcome. How is everything in Richmond, Virginia today?
Um, Pretty good, I think. It's a little bit cool here. I heard you saying it was warm. I just started the fireplace up because I'm in the dining room, and I'm excited to start this.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah,
We're excited too. And your friend is coming in on this course also?
she should be. Yes, I texted her a little bit ago and I said, "Are you ready?"
That's pretty funny. It's
Yeah.
real funny. It's real funny. Well, good.
Yeah. I'm hoping that she and I can group together and use our resources and stuff like that in the near future.
Well, maybe you can start your practice together, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was hoping.
I think it's easier if you have another person to do it with for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
we'll look forward to seeing her. Matthew and Lisa, we see your names in alphabet, and we don't see your faces yet, but we hope we do. So that's good.
I can think, here I
Oh,
am.
hi, Matthew.
How's it going?
Oh, it's so good to see your face. It's so
Hey.
fun to see everybody's face after all these telephone calls.
Well, I'm in Santa Fe and I'm looking at all your houses. So during the week, I just resigned. And so this class is just perfect for it. But I
Oh,
work maximum security in the big prison at Santa Fe. So tonight I'm in an RV that lives in Santa Fe. So it's my little work RV. And gave notice a week ago. I have 3 weeks to go, and then I'm just gonna between now and doing whatever I do with this class, I'm going to just try to find some shorter term contracts wherever and do a little travel and everything. But yeah, I'm really excited. And I went in super early today. I went in at 6 in the morning just so they'd let me off so I could run back here and get online. So they didn't have a problem with it.
well, congratulations on resigning. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm
Matthew, have to
excited.
tell your story when it's time for you to check in. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
great. It's really
Okay,
good to meet you.
you too.
And hi, Lisa. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Karen?
Good to see you. Good to
It's
see
good to
you.
see you too. Yeah.
Oh, welcome back. Welcome back. Good.
Ah, thank you. Thanks.
Well, good. So we have about we will start right smack at 7 o'clock. So if you need to go get water, beverages, go to the bathroom, you have 10 whole minutes.
So Karen, will your daffodils be the first flowers up, or do you have crocus out front?
There's crocus in the backyard, so we'll see. But there are some Linton roses already blooming in the little submarine next to the driveway. You'll see them. There's purple flowers up there already.
Nice, nice, nice.
Mm-hmm. They're
And
so
and, and the bird bath, that was that the wind that toppled that over?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That's only happened twice since I've been here for 20 years. So
incredible.
there's a big old wind. So I'm glad it didn't fall apart. It's pretty sturdy. I'm so happy. So yeah, yeah. So Mark, you have to go do that job fair tomorrow? Is it
So
tomorrow?
AB Tech has at the Allied Health Workforce Development Building, um, where they do the Allied Health nurse programs and dental school there at Genevieve Circle.
Mm-hmm.
We have a meeting with Deborah Bailey, Vice President of Continuing Education, and she's going to introduce the resources that are available at AB Tech Community College, including the Small Business Center. I think Jill Sparks will be there. So it's a major step, and just look forward to what partnership can be developed there.
Oh, that's awesome, Mark. It's awesome. I'm
And,
gonna hear the day that they're gonna hire you full time and give you a big fat raise.
and then Friday is something at AB Tech too.
What's that?
At the big conference center, a rural road trip, small business edition. So it's my first time there. I'm not too familiar with that. That'll be a Friday event.
Oh, good. Well, good. Well, all right. So I'll give you all a heads up while you're sitting. Well, you already got the heads up yesterday, but so we're gonna ask you to talk in 5 minutes about who are you, where are you from, what's your experience. Why did you choose this course? I copied the wrong thing here. And anything special about where you live, anything special about you. So you can be thinking about all that. And we got to do it in 5 minutes because there'll be 10 of us, including me and Mark. So we might run a little bit over 8 o'clock. All right. Okay. Sonia's coming in now. So Matthew, do you know what you're going to do? You're going to just do some traveling short term while you figure out what you want to
So
do?
I'm working with about 4 different recruiters, looking at different things. And yeah, I just turned down a job, a psychiatric nursing job in Nebraska. I've never traveled before. And although this prison job, since I don't, my base house right now is in Albuquerque, and I've been working in other cities, in other prisons, it feels like a traveler. But yeah, I'm just going to kind of get my travel legs on and try to get some travel nurses needing places to stay in my house in Albuquerque, keep a room there so I can come and go, and just process through this class and then see how I put it all together at the end of it.
Very cool. Excellent. Awesome.
Matt, you said you were going to go for a psychiatric job. I was going to ask if you were crazy.
I
Sorry.
would have been, and I declined it, because I have a background of that, and I just couldn't do it. It met even right now I work as a nurse practitioner. I work as the doctor for 1,000 guys. And just going back, I thought, well, that might be relaxing, just doing an RN psychiatric job like I used to do before I did NP. And then the more I started thinking about, it's like, oh my God, the heavy lifting you have to do with all that stuff. It's just, I realized maybe I've gotten spoiled in my new position, but I just couldn't take it. I just couldn't do it. It was a geriatric dementia night job.
Oh,
And
Lord have
you know, I'm not there. This is a time to kind of bloom, not go back into the darkness again. So
Mm.
That's a
I've
good
got
one.
a girlfriend who does psych, and she says the night shift nurses cut the temperatures way down, so they have to cuddle up in their sheets and their blankets and try to stay warm.
well, that's one way to do it, I
I
guess.
guess I've never worked psych, so I don't know.
Well, I never plan to again. You know, I almost did it, but I thought, no, I'm settling. This is a time in my life
Yeah.
not to settle. It's okay not to take every first thing that comes at me right now.
Mhm.
So
And have you advertised your house on Furnished Finders?
I'm on it. I'm not getting many hits, and I don't know if I've got it set up right. So I just kind of need a day to call the company and make sure I'm connected right and I'm in the right price range and everything. But yes, I have a little sister that has 3 places in Orlando. She rents out on Furnish Finder, and she's been very successful with it. No problems at all.
Yeah. It also
Well,
might be supply and demand for your area. I don't know
Yeah,
how big travel nursing is where you are.
yeah. But once I get that situated, I think it'll be a good thing.
welcome, Sabrina. Welcome, Sonia. Welcome, Lisa. Lisa S. We have a
Yes,
Lisa S and a Lisa N.
you can call me Lee if that helps.
Lee, okay. Hi, Sonia. How are you doing? It's fun to see you all in person, your faces. Very fun. Well, I think we're only missing one more person. 1, 2, 6, 7. One more person, and then we'll start. But we will start at 7. So we're all just chattering away, and it's very fun to chatter with you and see your faces after all these conversations. It's fun. So we'll ask you all to check in just about 10 minutes for each of you to go no more than 5 minutes, but you probably all tell a life story for multiple minutes, and we will be hearing a life story for 5 months, so there'll be more to come. So we'll do a little snapshot tonight, but that'll be great. That'll be great. Mark, did you ever finish the map?
Yes, and it should be updated in Pathright, with the pin drops. I
Okay.
just made an adjustment for our Northern California, Luann. I put her in around San Francisco. My sister's in Walnut Creek. So that was my knowledge comfort zone.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
So
It's about an hour. It's about an hour and a half from where I am.
how far are you from Oakland, Luann?
Well, it's always about traffic, right? So probably an hour and 45 minutes.
Okay. I have a cousin living there. I want to go see them this spring. So
Yeah,
yeah.
spring is a good time.
Okay, great. Great. Well, it is 7 o'clock. So we're going to reward those who are here and say, welcome, welcome, welcome. And we are so happy that you're in the 8th cohort of the Holistic RN Patient Advocacy Training Institute. Start your own private holistic RN private practice, and yay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and show you just a few introductory slides. These are ones that are required of me by the American Holistic Nurses Association, American Holistic Nurses Credentialing Center. And if any of you ever had to have a course credential by AHNA, anybody? Okay. Well, I'm going to introduce you to gigantic levels of anality. And I apologize for being very anal, but I have to be. So bear with me, and then we'll have some more fun. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and then we'll go through these slides, and then we'll do the intros. So let's see here. That's not the one I want. Let's come back here. Okay, here's the one. So this is a rose that's not quite blooming around here. Oh, hark, here comes Liz. Let's see, and I will do the slideshow here, and we'll play from start. So welcome to the February 14th through July 31st first class, and welcome, welcome. And so this is just a beginning slide about me. A lot of you already know about me, and I just want to say that one of the things you all are going to learn to do, or you already know how to do it, but to promote yourselves, especially with your credentials, your experience, and your education. And so several times when I do presentations, I put, I'm an RN patient advocate, I'm a holistic transitions coach, and I'm founder and CEO of RN Patient Advocacy, PLLC. We're going to talk about professional limited liability company and what you all will be in your own states. Some states require you just to be a PLLC, and some states require you just to be an LLC. And the Holistic RN Patient Advocacy Training Institute. And it's always good to put your website on the intro page, and just a few things. Like, I was a former instructor for the Ethical Legal Decision-Making course for the North Carolina Board of Nursing for Disciplined Nurses here in this state for 15 years. And I took a fabulous course by Luke Seward, who has a course teaching us how to become holistic stress management instructors. And then I'm an instructor at the OSHA Lifelong Learning Institute at University of North Carolina here. And so you all might have seen this on the postcard. I can't see you, but when we get back together, I think is there only one person who was drawn here by the postcard? I think, Matthew, you saw the postcard, right? Yeah. I think the rest of you were Facebook people, so that's interesting. This is a metaphoric picture that I had painted by an artist in Brevard, North Carolina, when working with nurses who had lost their licenses. Actually can stand for more, but you all understand about the phoenix bird gets burned up and comes back in 500 years. But the metaphor is here that a lot of times all of us as nurses rise from the ashes of whatever job we've been in, and we come back. Usually this little heart is cracked, and we all have maybe some Band-Aids on our heart, but here's Florence Nightingale's lamp, and here's a heart with wings on it. And these are men and women of different color, and we're coming back. So welcome, you Phoenix nurses, tonight. I always love to start the course with, or every class, with a quote. This is from a book by Eileen Caddy, who's one of the founders of Findhorn, which is an international spiritual place with incredible gardens in Scotland. And this quote says, "Feel yourself growing, breaking all bonds which have held you and stifle your growth and expansion, just as a tiny seed planted in the earth breaks its outer skin and begins to expand and develop into that which really is, so let your real self grow and expand until you become what you really are. Behold the wonder of it all." I love this quote. So let's go here. Okay, so this is a plant that is found in Chincoteague, Virginia in the spring. And I'm blanking on the name of it, but it's a thistle, and it has the longest thorns you've ever seen in your life. And here's a bee sitting on it. And so now I'm going to show you and talk to you about the prickly part of this course, okay? Which would be, we've already talked about, just a little bit about me more. So I've had 40 plus years of nursing experience, been in leadership, been in hospitals, been an adjunct nursing instructor in a for-profit school. And I've been 8 years in private practice. And I grew up in a catastrophic family system with my mother and sister diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia when I was 13. And we had very catastrophic experiences, being homeless, being evicted. But it sort of imprinted me, because were it not for angels and guides helping me through this darkness and placing shoulders on which to hold, that brought me to this place. So my passion is giving back to students and forest bathing and hiking and taking nature photos. And this is Mark, and he is a stellar soul. We started out calling him the holistic IT guy, otherwise known as the HIT. And he is very accomplished in all things IT. He will be with us in every class, and he'll be a resource for you. And he is an incredibly knowledgeable soul. And he has a BA in Business Administration and Marketing and Management from Appalachian State University, which is about 100 miles northeast of here in Boone, North Carolina. And he worked in the district office of J.C. Penney, and he worked in Lowe's Home Improvement Global Headquarters. And he's worked with knowledge transfer to clients with a holistic approach for hardware and software consultation. And he's a digital navigator. What's your official title, Mark?
Business service representative. I work part-time for a local council of governments in the workforce division. So they've learned I have technology skills that are important in all of our careers. So glad to support that.
He's very accomplished. Okay, here we go with the anal parts. So this course was re-credentialed by AHNA, the American Holistic Nurses Credentialing Center, on May 9th, 2023. That date is seared into my brain. So 80%, the learning outcomes of 80% of you will, at the end of the course, will be able to describe one local, state, or federal resource that's utilized to improve patient care during their patient case study as a holistic learning patient advocate student during your oral presentation. So each of you will have a 20-minute presentation, and all you have to do is identify one resource you use to talk with your patient. 80% of you will identify one strategy in integrating holistic practices and principles with your selected patient. Number 3, it's supposed to be 3, 80% will identify one patient intervention demonstrating your practice utilizing and documenting a patient advocacy assessment form, which I will give you. And 80% of you will identify one business strategy implemented during this course. So those are your objectives. And then here are the other things. So all lectures are going to occur on Wednesdays from 7 to 9:15. These are the wrong dates. It's supposed to be February 14th to July 31st. These classes will be videotaped and uploaded to YouTube and then placed in a learning management platform called Pathright Learning Management System, which Mark will go over in a few minutes. And you can watch these videos 150,000 times during the next 5 months. If you miss a class, it's required that you submit. So each class is 2 hours. And all you have to do if you miss a class is to write 2 paragraphs on your missed class and turn it in. And then a course certificate won't be awarded to until you turn in those paragraphs. Number 2, at the end of the class, each person has a 20-minute case study, which includes a holistic assessment. We'll review that. An orientation and advocacy agreement. This is what you can take these forms and use them with your patients. A SOAP FANCAPES assessment. We'll review that, and one invoice of 1 hour. And then you have to turn in a completed course eval. And then FYI, no one with the ability to control content of this activity has a relevant financial relationship to disclose with an ineligible company. And this wordage, this nursing continuing professional development activity was approved by the American Nurses Association and accredited approver by the American Nurses Credentialing Center Commission on Accreditation. And approval for contact hours through the American Holistic Nurse Association is based on an assessment of the educational merit of this program and does not constitute endorsement of the use of any specific modality in the care of clients. And I see an error. This course was approved for 40.5 hours, 40.5 contact hours. Okay, now last prickly thing. Here we are in the last prickly thing. So sharing of content for this course is strictly prohibited. Sharing of the content, which includes PowerPoints, videos, handouts, Word documents, forms, PDFs, or other content strictly prohibited. Pictures and screenshots of presentation slides, PowerPoints, videos, handouts is strictly prohibited. All our content is copyrighted. Now you say, Karen, why are you being so strict about this? Well, it's just the times that we were in about 2 years ago. Mark and myself and another marketing guy were doing some looking at other programs across the country that were doing this content. And there was on their landing page of their website, this is a national nursing organization, was a picture that I had taken of these beautiful flowers with bees on them. So they had scrubbed the picture on my website and taken it and put it on their website. So I had to call them and say, you need to take that down right now, which they did. So it's kind of a crazy world we live in. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to have you guys introduce yourselves. And here's what we want you to do in 5 minutes. And if there's about 10 of us, including the faculty, and so if you guys can kind of make it to 5 minutes, it'll take us to 80 minutes roughly. And then after that, we'll have a break and then we'll finish the class with some other information. So we're going to ask you your number of years of experience. Where have you been professionally, other non-professional degrees, other certifications? How did you find us and why you're taking this course? What kind of business would you like to start? Something special about you, something special about where you live and what city, and a fun fact about you. So I'm going to stop sharing so we can see all our faces. And I think Liz came in. Hello, Liz. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. All right. So who wants to go first with introductions? Okay, Lisa.
Me?
Yeah, I thought your screen was lit up. Would you like to pass for a minute?
No, no, I'll go first. That's
Okay.
fine. Oh, got Lisa. Okay. Is it me?
Yes, do you
Because
wanna
there's two
go first?
Lisas. There's two.
Yes,
Oh,
there's Lisa N and Lisa C, I believe. So
Yes.
that's right. So do you want to go first? We can have someone else go first, Lisa, if you wish.
No, I just was seeing someone else in front of me, so that I thought she was gonna. Never mind. I will go. um, I'm Lisa Nowicki, and I have been a nurse. It'll be 21 years this summer, and my background, I did massage therapy before becoming a nurse, so got a strong holistic background, and that's why I chose the American Holistic Nursing Association to be a member of. And then I did find out about you and your class, Karen, with the postcard. So I was the second one for that. So yeah, I've been a nurse for almost 21 years. I have my BSN. I also am certified in progressive care nursing. So I've worked at the hospital where I work. It's been over 15 years. So, that's good. I've always done something like kind of part-time on the side. I did massage therapy for a long time. I haven't been doing that in the last few years, but I'm hoping that patient care advocacy can be my kind of side hustle because I still work on the floor. I'm part of the corporate resource team, so they send me wherever they need me. I'm kind of like a travel nurse within the corporation. I've tried to get other jobs because I would like to get out of bedside, but the pay cut is pretty enormous. So I'm just sticking with what I'm doing right now. And I'm just hoping to find something more congruent with my heart and who I am, like on the side as far as with patient care advocacy. I live in Orlando, Florida, and I mean, I'm something special about Orlando. I'm not going to say Disney or anything like that because that's not my thing. I live in a nice little suburb of Orlando called Longwood, and there's a lot of big trees, and there's owls in our neighborhood and hawks. So I like that. A little bit more nature around where I live, so that's good. And something special about me? I don't know. This is a tough one. I guess I'm excited for this because I've always wanted to bring holism into my nursing practice, and I'm hoping this will be the way that I can do it. I bring that part of me to bedside with my patients, but it can be such a harried atmosphere sometimes at the hospital. So if I have my own practice on the side, I can do that at my own pace. Which is a little bit slower, a lot slower than the hospital. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Luann, what about you?
Hi, so my name is Luann Serafini. I am out in California and more northern, so around the capital. I have 32 years of critical care experience as a nurse, but 11 years prior to that, I actually was in the field. So that was EMS related. That would be fire, paramedicine. I did search and rescue. I dabbled in the field briefly once I got my enough mileage behind me as flight nursing. I did not like it. There's a little story there, but so it if you add up all that, that's, you know, around 43 years of patient contact time in basically emergency and intensive care. And specifically, I guess my training as an RN would have been in predominantly emergency nursing, and that the field work helped me with that. I did ICU, I did NICU, and I ended up in surgery. Did a little bit in the OR, but mostly the recovery room. And the pre-op, I actually took a leadership role and put together a kind of a pre-op process for all of our patients. So I guess that would be it in a nutshell. Outside of the hospital, two things of interest to me was Listone therapy, massage therapy. I do not currently do that. That takes a lot of energy, a lot of mental and psychological focus. And over the last 3 years, I haven't had that. But I did enjoy that, and it's still kind of on the back burner. The other thing that I did that I absolutely loved, and I wasn't an RN when I did it, but I was still in the field. It was kind of wellness education through a hospital, and I absolutely loved coaching people, diet and exercise. I still find that that is a powerful healing modality, and more so now that people are aware that food is medicine. Something special about me. Prior to becoming a nurse, I actually I work for the Forest Service, so I have an agricultural degree. And currently, I think that is somewhat magical because in a wellness platform, I could see doing things, small, like group retreats to get people into nature, whether it be high school age kids or women of my age, breast cancer, but immersing them into nature, whether it is growing food or fishing or something like that. The ag degree is now, as far as I'm concerned, kind of a complement to this new picture of wellness. Did I leave out anything, Karen?
I think you did pretty good.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Thank you, Luann. Okay. And Jennifer, what about you?
Gotta find my unmute button. I'm still getting used to all this stuff. My name is Jennifer Camacho. I am in Richmond, Virginia. I am getting ready to hit 31 years of nursing experience. I did 1 year of post-cardiac surgery, kind of a step down unit right before they went home. A year of neuro intensive care, and then I've been in the operating room ever since that. I love the operating room because it's one-on-one, and I don't have the chaos of the nightmares. I've always had the nightmares of it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon and I never got to see or give my 8 o'clock medicines. And that just mortifies me. So I've always wanted to give better one-on-one patient care. More recently, I've gone through some end of life stances with 3 close friends, all within a 3-week period. 2 were ex-husbands, one was 46, one was 49, and then my stepbrother's stepfather just passed. So it was kind of orchestrating hospice for my stepbrother. It was making sure we made the right, had the right questions and the right decisions when it came to end of life for one that was in the hospital, just being there with them. And I found it as sad as it was, having gone through death with my mother 2 years ago from colon cancer. It's a little bit satisfying going through and trying to help somebody through that process. as a nurse when they, they didn't have any experience with it, any clues as to, ways to make them comfortable, ways to make yourself comfortable when you're making the decisions, not having the guilt. When I saw this advertisement on Facebook, I really kind of felt like it was something I might be able to make a difference in somebody's life and actually feel it. When you're in the operating room, you're kind of the last thing they see before they go off to sleep. But that Versed has got some awesome amnesia effects, and they don't remember you. They don't remember what you did. They don't remember that you held their hand. And that's kind of where I love who I work with. I'm not happy with hospital facility anymore.
Mhm.
Not having the right to choose or to advocate, in my own way for the patients. I do what I can when I can, but it's just not really what I originally signed up for. So I'm hoping to make a change. One of my partners in crime is on here with us, so hopefully she and I'll go skippity down the yellow brick road together. Not sure what else.
What's fun about you and what's fun about Richmond?
Oh, I want to say, I'm a little bit older, so I don't go out and do all the fun things. I'm not real athletic, so I don't go out and do there's a lot that goes on in Richmond. Bike races, marathons, hiking, all that kind of fun stuff. So if you're a person who is into that, I nurse by paranoia and I live by paranoia. So I know if I put a pair of skis on or a pair of skates on, I'm going to break something. That's just not worth it to me. So my husband is early retirement with some medical issues. So I'm the only one who works. We've got my dad who lives with us also. We had an addition put on our house when my mom was sick, and my dad has Parkinson's. So it's always busy. I want to say that my husband and I were empty nesters for about 2 seconds. We've got 2 grown daughters, one who is expecting baby number 2, and the other one who may think about making me a grandma in the next year or so. But and that's it.
Thank you, Jennifer. That was great. Okay, Matthew, what about you?
You have to figure out this unmute. I used to be able to, is there a shortcut to get to unmute anywhere?
There's at the bottom left of your screen, there should be a little microphone, and if it has a red bar diagonally across it, it means you're muted. And if you click it, it comes
Got it.
off.
Okay,
That's
I
the
see.
shortcut.
That's
Yeah.
that's easier than hunting. Okay.
Right.
So I'll start with nursing and then I'll kind of preface it too, because this is kind of a third career for me. But I got into nursing. I was in real estate for a while and successful. I still own a little boutique brokerage in Santa Fe, New Mexico that I'm actually going to give up the license, which is huge for me too. That's another leap I'm leaving behind. I'm never going to go back to it. I love it, but I don't want to ever buy and sell houses for people. And I love real estate, but it through the years it gave me a lot of really good business skills for that. But when the one of the blessings that came out of the market crash in 2008, my business partners, I'd already been volunteering as a firefighter one and an EMT outside of Santa Fe on a pueblo. And they just said, isn't it time you just started doing what you really want to do? And they kind of did an intervention on me and got me in school, got me through school. So I started nursing in 2008. I went straight from school I was picked up as a Valor Scholar with the VA for psychiatric. And so I kind of bypassed doing a lot of medicine, went straight into acute inpatient psychiatric for the VA and did that for quite a while. Moved to a private hospital in Albuquerque, also did acute psychiatric, and hospice. There was a time when I got into hospice. I really enjoyed it. So that was kind of my first um, a placement in medical, and it was pretty intense because it was kind of it was an inpatient hospice for more complicated being with dying cases. So I learned a lot. Then I decided to um, get my master's, and I'm a family nurse practitioner now. I'm in my second year as a provider, and I've been the provider at the big maximum security prison in Santa Fe. I have 1,000 men, and I have a wonderful medical director who lives in Florida. When she's not there, I'm the only medical person there. So it's been huge, and it really ramped up my medical skills on a very fundamental level that I had bypassed as a nurse. So I'm glad I did it. I always felt that being strictly in psychiatric, I was missing a huge component of the holistic piece of caring for people. I love behavioral health, but sometimes physical needs just absolutely get missed. Um, so to preface all that, before I did all that, for 25 years since I was a kid, I was a hairdresser and owned hair salons in Santa Fe and Albuquerque. So my people skills are pretty good. And when I first became an NP, I tried to go into like a med spa. It felt so much like a salon. I got scared and had to jump into the prison job because I felt like I needed a big boy, right? It was just I felt like, oh no, I'm backtracking. But the truth is once we do what we're going to do, I want to integrate that back to the intimacy of a salon and client advocacy and being my own person again, because I've absolutely got lost in my time with institutional nursing. I've lost a piece of my soul. You know, there's a piece of me I can't feel right now.
Mm.
And I need to kind of soul retrieve that piece. The other cool thing about it is I am part of American Holistic Nursing Association, and all that time in Santa Fe doing all those wild holistic woo-woo people, I got to meet some amazing teachers like Larry Dossie and Barbara Dossie and a lot of the people that are really in that group. And I got to work with Joan Halifax, who has a upaya there. And I was in her first class of Being with Dying when she was recording it and writing the books. So I've had an awesome upbringing. I mean, that city raised me in a way I would have never known to raise myself. So it's time to just kind of bring it all home and honor that piece and just kind of do the leap and start again. So when I'm not doing all this, I love to garden. I still love to work on houses. I have a house outside of Taos, New Mexico. I just never have time to get up there right now. And then here I am in my little mouse house RV in Santa Fe, which is parked right outside of the prison the nights I work there. Uh, so I'm doing kind of this gypsy thing, and when I'm not here, I'm really a homebody, just kind of putting myself back together.
Thank you, Matthew. Great. Okay, Sabrina, what about you?
Well, it's hard to follow that. Everybody has so many years of experience and lots they've been doing, but I will do my best. So this is my 11th year as a nurse. I've had some varied experience, some that's in common with some of you. So originally I started out in surgical oncology. And I did that for a few years and became a travel nurse. And then I did home hospice. So, like some of you, I loved hospice. And surprisingly, it was less depressing than oncology. So, I really felt like Jennifer was saying that there is something special about the relationship when people have that decline and really being able to help them through that. So, I speak to that as well. For a while, I worked in an outpatient clinic, and it was interesting because I have ADHD and I get bored pretty easy. And every day the subject changed in outpatient. So like one day you would do urology, and the next day you would work in neurology, and the next day it would be plastic surgery. And so it was really hard for me to get bored. That was fun. Then I did triage and telephone triage. I wanted a cushy job and I thought I would love talking to people on the phone all day. Um, Not quite so much, but I tried it. And then I worked for a pharmaceutical company. And that was interesting as well. And then now I work for a software company that you probably haven't heard of because it's a startup. I work for Cohere Health. And I do utilization management and prior auths for them. So I really think that holistic health will be a good area for me to go into for multiple reasons. But mainly I do appreciate that patient relationship that I'm obviously not having in utilization management. And I do really want to feel that I am improving someone's life. And one of the things I loved when I was a case manager for hospice is I feel like my skill set is looking at the big picture of something, rather than just little details, and really listening to someone talk to me about their life, their symptoms, their history, medical and otherwise, and really being able to determine, oh, okay, like this might be what they need. We might need to adjust this. Seeing where there are issues where maybe the doctor didn't write an appropriate dosage of something, things like that. I feel like I do well at that. I had to think hard about this special about me request, but I thought one of the things that I might have that you guys have not is I've gotten the bubonic plague before. Which I really hope never happens to any of you. Because when I got it, didn't think it still existed. I thought that was like back in Europe, and I was wrong. So that was a learning lesson for me. It was also a learning lesson for the 6 different doctors that I had to go to. So that was fun times. I live in Arkansas, in the middle of nowhere. It is called Bull Shoals. It is in north central Arkansas, so you can put a tack on your map. I have learned since being here that it is a resort town and everybody comes to fish. So I need to learn how to fish, basically. And everybody comes from the whole north of the country to my town in order to fish in the White River, and I live on a lake. It's gorgeous, so I enjoy that. Anything I missed, Karen?
I think you did pretty darn good, Sabrina.
Nice to meet all of you.
Bubonic plague, that's fascinating. We have to hear more about that story sometime during this course, okay? All right, thank you. And Lisa Seeds, Lisa S.
Yeah, you can call me Lee if that makes it
Okay.
easier.
Okay.
It just, so these are all very good comments that everyone has made, and I see that there's a whole lot of differentiation in between all of them, and I have appreciated that amongst people that I work with, so that makes life interesting. I'm one of those people that's always learning something, always needs to learn something. I come from a small town, Mechanicsville. Y'all might know it if y'all live in Virginia. And I've been all over the state of Virginia. I currently live in Chesterfield. I've been an active nurse for over 20 years. When I was a kid, I thought maybe I wanted to be a teacher or a veterinarian or maybe work as a park ranger, just because, all the places that we lived, we always had animals. My first years in college, I was an animal science major. So I have an associate in animal science. Then I actually worked for a few veterinarians over the years, loved it, but it doesn't pay bills. So then I started working at Micromagnetics, which is just a software and Xerox kind of company. I was doing accounts receivable there. Didn't really care about it. It was not fun. So then I started working at it's an urgent care type facility, and did almost all of their insurance problems. Not just posting it, but doing claims, all that kind of stuff, making sure all the doctors had all their CVs, that kind of thing. It was okay, but it still wasn't what I wanted to know. It just wasn't enough. So, I worked at a pediatric primary care, managed it for about 7 years. Enjoyed it, but again, still didn't feel like I knew enough. So I went back to school after my youngest daughter passed away. Um, I've always had somebody in the family that's had some kind of illness. My grandmother had osteomyelitis all of her life, off and on. So I used to help her with her wound care and that kind of thing. And I actually enjoyed doing that. I hate to say that she had wounds, but I liked the fact that I could help her. So that always made me feel good. So, like I said, after my daughter passed, I decided that I needed to go back to school. And I went back and I got a nursing, an associate in nursing at one of the community colleges, and found out that there were so many things about nursing that I really loved. One of the things that we got to do while we were there is not only be participants in all of the hospitals in the area, but we also got to do presentations. One of the presentations that I did was mental health, and a mental health way where children and people that have been abused, what kind of extra care do they need? What kind of psychological understanding did they need? And that really sung to me. But I didn't want to be a behavioral health care nurse. I wanted to be a pediatric nurse. Until I went to VCU, and then I decided that I was going to go to jail if I became a pediatric nurse, because I felt like that the kids just weren't taken care of, and I just wanted to take them all home, and that's just the way it is. But from there, I came to Bon Secours, which is in Richmond, and I worked my way from a receptionist up to nursing supervisor of one of the facilities. And throughout that, I did everything. I was a tech. I was a extern, actually the first extern the pre-op ever had. And, that was a saving grace for me. Because when I went to the floor to work ortho spine on the floor, I would have 6 to 8 patients every day. It was a lot. And it was backbreaking. But then they called me about 6 months in and says, "Hey, come on down." And I was like, "But I can't. I don't have critical care." And they're like, "It's okay. We're going to teach you." So that was great. So I went through the critical care classes, came back down to pre-op. And then the OR came to me and said, "Hey, we'd love to have you in the OR." And I was like, "Okay, great." So another opportunity to learn, another opportunity to be able to talk to my patients and understand what their problems were, how we were going to try to fix their problems, and how to be able to talk to them, with a real rational experience. And anyway, so still didn't feel like I knew enough. So I went and I did step down neuro for a while, and then ended up over at one of the other Bon Secours facilities being nursing supervisor. I loved it. I truly, truly loved it. I got the opportunity to not only talk to patients, but I got to talk to staff. I got to talk to doctors, and and try to get to understand what was going on with them, and that I could talk to them, and we could work out a plan that would work together for everybody. And it just really sung to me. So that I love. And then it just got. I work nights, so it's tiring. It's tiring, very tiring. You work 12 to 13, 14 hours a day, and you come home and you're just exhausted. You don't have time to do stuff. And when you do have days off, you're so tired, you just don't want to do anything else. I still love to read. I love to, do art and crafts and create stuff and make stuff. And, I've put together the hot water tank. I've put together shelving. I've put together, crafts for the kids so that they could take them here, there, and yon. Because I was my oldest and youngest, well, middle girl, they were both in Girl Scouts. So we did Girl Scouts, and we did a lot of things with Girl Scouts. Whitewater rafting. We went to Manhattan. We just did all kinds of stuff. Still love to do that. Still don't feel like I'm involved enough in some things, but in other times I'm just so exhausted, so tired. So this is an opportunity for me to look at a different perspective and be able to actually put some of my knowledge back into play again and be able to do some of the things that I thought about as a kid. And that's to teach some people. I love teaching my patients. I love playing with my patients and talking to them. But, when I get an opportunity and I do have some downtime, I try to do art shows, and I try to go to the museums in the area. And, that's the kind of stuff that I do. That's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lee.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Sonia, what about you? Sonia, I think you're muted.
Yeah, it took me a
There you
minute
go.
to get it off. Well, halito, the host of Sonia Fraser, Chakasha Micha Chatasiya. Hello, my name is Sonia Fraser, and I am Choctaw and Chickasaw. I've been a registered nurse for over 20 years now. I live in Ada, Oklahoma, which is about almost 2 hours southeast of Oklahoma City. We have 39 tribes in our state. And my nursing experience, I started out in OB, went to ICU, kind of went from the beginning of life to the end of life sometimes. And so from there, I went to risk management, emergency management, radiology nurse, and then nursing education. And at that time, I had worked for my tribe for about 17 years. And then I became known as a disruptor because I was advocating for my people, for my patients, because, they're all my tribal members, my tribal relatives, citizens. And a lot of our staffing that they were bringing in were not culturally aware or competent in a lot of ways with the culture of our people, the history. And so there was a lot of conflict. And so that's why I went into education, was to try to educate the new nurses that were coming in. And at that time, they just felt like that I wasn't helping, that I was probably being hindering is what they said. I was hindering the progress. And I already knew things were going to start changing in the healthcare system. And this was before, COVID and, everything happened. And I knew things were going to come to change. And so I left there and I went to a little clinic that's about 40 minutes away from me, and it is under the Indian Health Services. And I'm also an officer in the United States Public Health Service. I've been in that for almost 20 years. Yeah, I think it's 16 years this year. And hopefully in about 5 more years, I can retire from that. But I truly believe everything happens for a reason. And the path that I have been put on is actually where I'm supposed to be. So through my journey, because I'm also the daughter of 2 boarding school survivors. I don't know if any of you know about the history of the American Indian boarding schools, the effects that it has on our people. And that kind of led to a lot of the health disparities that we see in the indigenous populations and communities. And so what I do is bring awareness and education about that. And To me, it's very important for us Indigenous nurses to be the voice for our people and to speak up in the healthcare systems to help make those positive changes. So what I did was I created the Oklahoma Indigenous Nurses Association because I felt like there wasn't a place for a Native nurse to go to seek for help and advice and get suggestions from. So one of my coworkers said, just create it. She said, just create it. So I was like, okay, then. And it just took off. Um, it's it's really rolling, and it's like I can't get it to slow down right now. I've been out to a lot of the hospitals in Oklahoma, nursing schools, giving presentations about the historical trauma. And it's just been a good journey, a very good journey. How all that came about, I also created another organization called Regalia Making Relatives, which is a community-based organization, and it's healing intergenerational trauma through regalia making, which is basically learning about our culture and our history and just making that reconnection that we lost through the boarding schools and through assimilation and colonization. And that took off. And it's been really challenging to keep both organizations going, but they're both going very well. I'm very proud of both of them. So through those organizations, I was selected to be on the American Nurses Association's Commission to Address Racism. And that was back in 2021 and 22, I believe. And they still have that commission going, but then they also asked me to be on the Code of Ethics revision for 2025. So I'm on that committee as well. I was able to get off the Commission to Address Racism because one of the other Indigenous nurses, board members, was able to join that one. So it kind of took me away from that. But it was a really good experience. It's been a good experience with the Code of Ethics. I believe there's 30 of us nurses across the nation. All of them have a doctorate. I'm the only one that doesn't. They all do academia, and then there's me. I think I'm the only one that's still kind of like at bedside or still works, in the clinic. And so it's just been a good journey for me. So how all this came about with finding this organization, one of the things I have always done in my nursing career, besides advocating, is people to be culturally aware and place that they're wanting the same thing. It's the Indian Health Service Clinic. We serve the Seminole Nation, Creek Nation, just different tribes within that area. And it's not my tribe, but it's other tribes. And they want to start a spiritual clinic or alternative therapy clinic. And it all just kind of fell in place together. And the problem I was having was figuring out how to do a budget, figuring out just all the logistics of everything. And that's how I came across this, because I got a postcard in the mail and my husband was like, hey, you might be interested in this. And so he knows how I am. I've been married for over 30 years. And my husband and I, we have 8 children, 5 biological, 3 adopted through foster care. So we're also Indian child welfare advocates as well. We're members there. We share our story. So we're constantly busy. We're constantly doing different things. And 4 years ago, I started taking care of my dad, and he's in the nursing home now, but he's about an hour away from me. Also take care of my mom. We do home dialysis, which this is where I am right now, is in her little tiny home. My husband built me a she shed, but she's not feeling good tonight. So it's been the dialysis nurse that's been texting me, and she's been sick for a few days. So she asked me just to stay over here with her this evening. So that's where I am. We also take care of my mother-in-law. She does have dementia as well. So her symptoms are, starting to get progressively worse as well. So we have our hands full right now. We also have 5 grandbabies that we love very much. But I guess one of the exciting things, I guess, about me is I just love doing what I do as a nurse. It comes natural to me. I feel like the holistic nursing is probably more geared towards that. I mean, it's similar to Indigenous beliefs because it's about taking care of the person as a whole. And it's looking at everything related to that person, their families, the communities, their spirituality, just everything, all of that is included in taking care of that person. And these are the same cultural beliefs that we used to have a long time ago. That's the way my ancestors believed. And so it's about bringing all that back, educating others. I'm really big in education. If we can provide that education, I'm willing to provide it. So those are just the different things that we do. We always have something going on. The Indigenous Nurses Association, we were also selected for the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. They did a documentary on our organization and kind of giving the Indigenous nurses point of view as well, especially through racism, because we experience racism in a different way because you can be too traditional, not traditional enough, too dark, too light, too assimilated. I mean, there's so many different levels that we experience. And I always say it's not like just regular racism, and we have multiple levels of racism. And so if we can just work on that, because, if we can eliminate racism, we can help improve the healthcare system overall. And that's just about learning about each other and accepting each other and being respectful of each other. And so the core values, it's just about love, compassion, understanding, and that's what being a nurse is too. And through the code of ethics, that's the one thing we're trying to also encourage is for nurses to heal themselves. Because if we can't heal ourselves, how are we expecting to heal other people? So that's just kind of a little caption.
Thank you.
I mean, I could go into so much more, and I can talk because I do come from a line of preachers and spiritual leaders, so I can keep going. But did I answer all the?
I think you did, Sonia.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. And Liz, what about you?
What about me? This has been so great. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. I love nurses. We've been everywhere. We've done so much. I started out in holistic health. That was my first degree. And it took me a while to come around to being a nurse because I was just really interested in the holistic health side. But as a single mom, I had to make a choice where I could actually make money. And so I went to nursing school to become a nurse midwife instead of a home midwife. And of course, I then didn't do nurse midwifery. I did postpartum, newborn nursery, breastfeeding, and infant safety classes. What I really got out of that was I love teaching. So I then decided I am not always impressed with the healthcare system. And I was going to exit and become, so I have a master's in teaching elementary ed and special ed. But again, that doesn't make a ton of money. So I'm glad I have that knowledge. I feel like it's really helped me in understanding, I guess, maybe the learning process, a lot about special needs, making accommodations, giving people the space. And when I was in that master's program, I worked as a special ed parapro in the schools, and I was a night nurse at an inpatient children's psych unit, Bradley Hospital in Rhode Island at that time. Oh, I should say I'm in Colorado. My hope was to then get my master's and move over into the Bradley schools. They had special education schools. But life. So I came back to Colorado and worked on the same unit I had worked on for a year as an LPN. It was step down PCU. We did a lot of open hearts prep and recovery before they would go home. And I also floated down, of course, to the cardiovascular center in med-surg. I think there I'm most proud of like the relationships I created with people. I really stepped into who I was as a nurse. Like, I'm funny or I can be. And I think that can be really helpful in some times of intensity, not to dismiss it, and respectful. So I love that I got that out of it, and I did get my PCCN certification, but that's lapsed at this point because I haven't been in the hospital setting since 2013. So I did that for about 7 years and I was maxed out. My brother passed away and emotionally I just couldn't do it anymore. Plus, I think hospitals should be one of the healthiest places you walk into. Fresh air, good fresh food, like I could go on. And I understand the importance of acute care. I just think we could be doing better. And so from there, I did telephone triage. I started to manage that and got really into Excel and data. I love it. And so I stepped out of leadership and I went over to the Colorado Hospital Association and worked for quality improvement and patient safety. That was cool. Worked with the grant, the hospital, the HIN, the Hospital Improvement and Innovation Network, huge grant from CMS to improve the healthcare system, you know, whether it was like surgical site infections or workplace violence. The thing I'm most proud of there is that I brought de-escalation training to rural Colorado nurses. Like all the urban nurses get that training, but we identified that the rural ones didn't. And as you know, it's an increasing problematic issue in the healthcare system, workplace violence. So I also felt a little like too distant there. And sometimes like there was just like a lot of BS floating around and like we're talking about it, but is it actually being implemented? So that doesn't sit well with me. So I helped establish a nurse navigator position for a total joint program in Denver, which was amazing. I learned so much. We had a disease-specific certification for total hips and total knees, and I helped with that and the data for that. And I feel like a lot of my role as I really like being a nurse navigator. And I feel like I did a good stretch to like really get people set up prior to surgery and after, because readmissions, why? When we could be proactive, just by asking all the questions and making sure you're really listening to what they're saying as far as what their resources are. And then I took that, mapped it over to another program. It was advanced therapeutic endoscopy. That was okay. I just couldn't get the full-time hours I wanted. So I went and decided, you know what, I really wanted to be remote a few years ago. And so I'm going to go back to that. So I jumped into the pharmaceutical industry. It's amazing what I've exposed myself to that I know years ago I would have been like, what are you even doing? So I learned a lot there too, met a very good friend who is here today. And now I work for an organization that is also a startup and a recent merging with care centers or clinics, and we're like an additional benefit that as all the employees get. We have some very big customers nationally, and we're called care guides. I consider us to be nurse navigators, and we help patients navigate their healthcare benefits, their health, and the healthcare system. And it feels kind of easy to do that, like natural. And so I feel like some of that's like patient advocacy, like I might help with claims and billing, but I might also help them determine who their next provider might need to be. And if their needs aren't being met with their current provider, I'm going to set them up I make sure they get like their preventative screenings done. Um, Along the way, I've definitely stayed on the holistic side because I was in Boulder. That's where I brought up my son. He's 30 now. But I've done a lot of different trainings like herbalism, qigong, healing touch. I can't remember the name, but it was with Gail Peterson in Berkeley, Colorado. And it was like, no, Berkeley, California. And it's like holistic childbirth education. And that really got into like reframing and trying to make, help people see how they were seeing childbirth and kind of free them up. This past year, I got my certification in health and wellness coaching through my employer. I love it. I think this is behavioral change science is so intriguing. And I really appreciate talking to members and people more from a coaching side than the nursing side, where you're like, here's your education, here it all is. Now you go digest that. Good luck. Well, maybe not quite like that, but I feel like we're forced to educate when people are experiencing the most stress of their lives. How are they going to absorb that? So, coaching, love it. I've got my nurse executive certification as well. And so I'm in Loveland, Colorado. And what's amazing about Loveland, besides that it's not Boulder and as congested, is the outdoors. And this is like its year, the time of year, because people will send letters so that all their Valentines can be sent out from Loveland, Colorado. And all over the town, there's like these 18-inch hearts and people put messages on them. So there's all these red hearts around on the lampposts and everything. And it's just kind of sweet to see love messages. And my most fun thing, okay, it's quilting. I love it. It makes me happy. I'll share
Awesome.
things as we go along because I'm working on some.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for your wonderful introductions. I'm amazed because it's all divine how you all decided to come into this classroom together. It's kind of like a little set of miracles that you're all here. And so won't we learn a lot from each other for the next 5 months? So it is at the top of the hour and we're going to take about, it's 8:06. So we're going to come back at about, tonight we'll come back at about 8:15, okay? And then I'll be talking a little bit and then Mark will be talking a little bit. Then we'll do takeaways and then we'll close at 9:15, okay? Okay, we'll see you in just a little bit. Okay, let's see. The 10F, one more minute. Hey, Mark, I'm gonna go through the objectives, the course modules, and the schedule. Then I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Okay,
think-
thank you.
I think I might take about 20 minutes. I'm gonna pay attention. And then I'll turn it over to you. And then if we can stop at 9:05 so we can do takeaways and be gone by 9:15. Okay? Okay, let's see, what time is it? 8:15. Okay, so thank you all for your great comprehensive check-ins. It's good to get to know you all. I'm excited to get to know you all better. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to, let's see, where are we here? So this were some of the things we're going to go over tonight about the course schedule, the 7 modules, objectives. We've already done a course faculty. We've done the H&A requirements of the course completion. We talked about missing classes. We've talked about required statements of H&A. We've talked about the total number of contact hours, which is 40.5. Mark's going to go over Zoom. Just a little bit about etiquette. So it's really good if you're eating or drinking to make sure you put that on silence, mute, and if there's if you have to go to sleep or take a nap, please close your screen. And we prefer that you're sitting upright in class versus lying down so we can see your face. It's really good to see your face. And I'm going to let Mark talk about earphones and Apple EarPods. And Mark will talk about the chat box. And my phone number, I think a lot of you have it, but if you don't have it, I'm going to put it in the chat box. It's good to put my phone number in your phone. I'm putting all of your phone numbers in my phone, so you can call me for any questions during the next 5 months or whenever. And then we're going to talk about the schedule. And we've already talked about the class presentation. We'll get into that more. Mark's going to go over Wi-Fi access and Pathright. So this is just a quick look at the schedule. What I'm going to do is send you all I'm going to send you a Word document, and it shows every single Wednesday all the way through July 31st. And to make note that we will have no class on May 8th, and we'll have no class on July 3rd. And then I put in a couple of extra classes on the 24th and 25th of July. And usually in the last several classes, we've always added a 4-hour Sunday class. But instead of putting the 4-hour Sunday class, I used it for 2 additional classes. So we can talk about if you all would like to consolidate 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon or leave it with 2 extra Wednesdays. So I'm going to send you guys this schedule in your emails next week. Just a review of the course modules. So all of the classes will fit into one of these modules. So the first one is building the foundation, establishing a relationship. So that would be, what is holistic nursing? What's the ANA Code of Ethics? We're going to spend time on your Nurse Practice Act. We're going to talk about nurse coaching, and we're going to talk about key societal concepts about nursing and things that impact our profession, like turnover, medical errors, moral injury. And actually, we have Dr. Linda Bark is coming next week, and she's going to talk for 2 hours about nurse coaching and primary practices and principles. And she's going to talk about the 7 magic questions when doing an interview. So that is part of your building the foundation. The second part is the inner landscape of ourselves as we're out here in private practice. So how do we establish deep listening, the powerful questions with nurse coaching? the biggest part of this course that has the most content is business development. So we're going to be talking about your name, what is a website, do you need to register it with your state's Secretary of State office, creating one-page business plans? Are you going to create a limited liability company or a professional limited liability company? We're going to also talk about having an EIN number, marketing and website building. And part of that is setting your hourly rate, assessing your Enneagram type, third-party reimbursement, separate bank accounts for your business cards, and using Zoom. And then we're going to spend a whole unit, several of them, on the landscape of the U.S. healthcare system, and it impacts everything we do. And we're going to talk a lot about medical errors as one of the leading cause of death, and 80% of errors occur during handoffs. We'll talk about the nursing shortage in regard to RNs and CNAs. We'll talk about Medicare and Medicaid Advantage plans, death and dying, difference between home care versus home health. We'll talk about nursing home care, long-term care facilities, and a varying cost of hospitals, urgent cares, and minute clinics. We'll talk about self-care strategies, physiology of stress, resilience, heart math, networking, ACEs scores, and how to manage stress. We'll talk about care planning and setting up accountability measures. This is where I'll give you all of my forms that I've developed, and you can use these on your own as you start your practice. And last is pulling it all together with your 20-minute presentation of just one patient. Could be a family member, a brother, sister, a husband, a neighbor, anyone. And this is just Chincoteague Island in Virginia. And then I'm going to keep going, and this is the objectives of the course. There are several, and I'm going to whiz through these because these will evolve. But when you submit a course to H&A, you have to have objectives a lot. So, and underpins the agenda. So we'll review the principles and practices of holistic nursing. We're going to talk about, from the patient perspective, we're going to discuss the role confusion between a lot of different roles of patient advocacy out there, like our inpatient advocates, patient advocates, health advocates, geriatric case managers, care managers, discharge planners, and social workers. We are going to talk about describing the importance of self-care and stress management, because we're out here on our own, and how are we going to take care of ourselves. We're going to talk about the basic provisions of your own state's Nurse Practice Act. What is the ANA Code of Ethics? And whatever the American Hospital Patient Bill of Rights, or what is the Patient Bill of Rights of wherever you're serving. And I've interjected some artwork in between these objectives just to give your brain a break, and then identify importance of powerful questions when you're doing coaching. We'll talk about why medical errors are one of the leading causes of death in the U.S. We're going to talk to factors that lead to non-transparency of the healthcare system, and talk about how fear and combating fear is a big thing for our patients and clients. Another picture of Chincoteague, Virginia. We're going to talk about what are the metrics in your state for thousands of people over the age of 65, and how will that impact your practice, because we're going to see thousands and thousands of baby boomers increasing in volume in the next 10 to 20 years. And we're going to talk about the definition of advocacy. We're going to talk about the operational functions of minute clinics and urgent cares and emergency departments, and the whole settings of assisted living and skilled nursing homes. And we're going to talk about heart math principles. We're going to talk about the top 5 types of medical errors, what's the difference between allopathic or Western medicine versus lifestyle medicine. We're going to talk about how medical terminology is a fluency issue for patients and families, and how do we confront healthcare providers when we walk into a room and they say, "Who are you?" And I say, "I'm an RN patient advocate," and then they get flustered, angry, or whatever. We're going to talk about the conundrum of obtaining our medical records for our patients and families. It's always important not to be a crab in your healthcare setting. And we are going to talk about getting home health and palliative care and hospice services for patients and families, and what are the cost benefits for those, how to leave an important message for a highly understaffed, extremely busy medical office, more Chincoteague pictures, and talk about the 7 most important questions to ask your physician. We're going to talk about different advanced directives. Every state has their own medical order for scope of treatment or POLST forms. And we're going to talk about reverse chronological order for keeping your health records. These are more topics for the business of healthcare, or of our business of patient advocacy, in terms of separate bank accounts, logos, charge cords, IT support, case finding. If there's just a lot here. We're going to compare and contrast patient charges for hospitals, labs, radiologies, and talk a little bit more about racism in healthcare. And then lastly is the course map. So this is the course map that we are going to attempt to follow. So here we are on class 1, and the second class is going to be provided by Dr. Linda Bark, who is the owner and founder of Wisdom of the Whole Coaching Academy. And then this is the class syllabus, and sort of gives me a map of how the course is going or goes. And sometimes I might change my mind and say, well, it might be more effective if I move Enneagram. Oops, if I go move the Enneagram course over. But anyway, so it goes up here and down here. And this is about SCORE. These are free. This is a free federal organization for us to get business help. It's amazing. This will be about website design and the basics of marketing. Over here on number 8, we'll talk about the top 14 reasons why people are going to search for you as an RN patient advocate. And we're going to talk about the cost estimator. This is class 9 over here, which is how are you going to develop your website? What about presentations are going to be one of your most productive ways to give free classes? And we want people to be magnetized to you. And so a way to magnetize them is to provide classes. And so how many times have you taken a class and you were totally amazed by the speaker, and then you walked up to them and said, will you work with me? So that's how I found all my people. Marc was one of my people. I took 2 classes from Marc on blogging, and he did such a great job. After the second class, I walked up to him and said, can I hire you? And he said, yes. And he's been with me for 6 years. Is it 6 years, Marc? Holy
Probably more than
cow.
that. Mhm.
Oh my, okay. This is a class 10 on palliative care versus hospice care. And Greg, my husband, is going to talk about conscious dying. This is 1-page business plan. I'm now to May 1st, and we're talking more about business entity choice, where you have a sole proprietorship, where you have a limited liability company. This is a class on the ACEs scores. That's a adverse childhood event scores. That's how it impacts us all. We are going to be off on May 8th, and we're going to come back the following week. I'm going to get my teacher on stress management to come and do 2 hours on stress management and coping and relaxation skills. And then we're going to have on the 14th, it's a federal program. That's the long-term care ombudsman role. And then I'm not saying all this to you all, but we are going to have Jan Nickerson come and talk about resumes and bios and how to create documents that are really going to dazzle your clients. And down here is home care versus hospice. This is going to have we're going to have a gerontologist come and talk about the 6 or 7 major questions that patients ask her a lot. We're going to do a Medicare 101 and a lifestyle medicine overview. And then we're going to have some special speakers there's a man, an attorney in Chicago who had a horrible set of events where he got septic and he went into septic shock and he went into a coma. And when he woke up, he had no hands and no feet through major pressor use. And he has turned his life into advocacy. And then we're going to have another man who started an incredible Facebook group here. His name is Will Overfelt, and he started this incredible Facebook group called Mountain Melodies, which is a giant container for 15,000 people in Asheville to put all of their concerns, gripes, hurts, and pains about their healthcare experiences. And then we'll be having class presentations, and then that'll go through here. And so we will talk more about what you all want to do to add a class 22 or a class 23 instead of having a 4-hour course on Sunday, one of the Sundays. So I think that's all that I have to, I think that's all I've got for me. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to say, we'll ask questions. Anybody have questions for me now? That was a lot to show you, a lot. I went through the whole curriculum in 15 minutes. Okay, so what we'll do also is every week I'll tell you what's coming up in the next week or two. So next week will be Dr. Linda Bark for 2 hours talking about nurse coaching. That will be one of the foundations of holistic orientation advocacy. And then on the third week, I'll be doing the landscape of the U.S. healthcare system and the whole issue about your scope of practice with your Nurse Practice Act, as well as the ANA Code of Ethics and why it's important for you all to know that. So I'm going to go 2 weeks at a time in the future to tell you what's coming. Okay? Questions? Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Mark, and he's got about 25 minutes to tell you some good stuff about many things.
Nice, nice. Thank you so much, Karen. This is my 8th cohort with Karen. We started before COVID. We thought it was going to be in person, and oh my gosh, we had to change gears. And it is amazing how Zoom and working from home and broadband has become part of the business world, including being an RN patient advocate in your community. So one of the tools that Karen utilizes is called PathRight. And let's see, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
And PathRight is literally the acronym is Learning Management System, or LMS. And the intent is to provide you the path that Karen just laid out with a little bit more details. And each path will, this pathway will have each of the individual classes. I see that many of you are already in there. There's a couple of emails I'm going to send out to you, and the emails will look something like this to start the 2024 spring holistic class. You literally click on the button and it will take you to the PathRight system where you'll enter your email address and your password. For those of you that might be a little bit more tech savvy in your email, if you can, for me, for Gmail, I can easily add an address being notifications@pathright.com. And this is the notification, the Holistic RN Patient Advocate Training Institute, that becomes the email communication. Karen, I think we'll likely turn on again the 15 minutes before class reminder. It'll send an email for you to sign in. Very similar email. By you adding this to your address book, you're giving the electronic world a handshake that you know and trust email communication from notifications at pathright.com. And it will help you as part of your learning environment. When you sign in, your path will include the individual classes. So clicking and opening, Karen's gone through a check-in process, introducing folks. As you scroll down to the bottom on your screen, you will have a button that says complete, continue. And you can see there's a sequence of circles. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 path steps in this current class right now. Once you indicate complete, continue on your screen, you'll move through the path steps. And the second path step is similar information to what you have provided through email. Is, what is your mailing address? At the end of this RN patient advocacy training, Karen will be snail mailing a certificate. So having your address on hand is very, very important. I think many of you have already indicated how many years you have been an RN. What is your preferred email address? And you just fill in the block. Your best phone number. What state are you licensed in as an RN? And in the Pathright system itself, you have the ability to modify your profile, and it makes it a little bit more individualized. If you go into your profile settings and modify your picture, update your name, your location, a little bit about you, this becomes part of the Pathright system to help individualize your steps utilizing the system. I have a slightly different view because I have a administrative account, but every time we have class, it's always amazing the diversity across our country, where the RN patient advocates are located. So based off of some of the information that Karen provided, I tried to put it in a pin drop where everybody is with Karen, myself, Greg, her husband, Linda Bark. We're located at the purple pin. And you can see it's amazing that we have such a wonderful diversity throughout the country. And that's something that's pretty consistent. That, we have this desire throughout the country to support the healthcare industry with the skill sets that you have. So on your screen down on the bottom, you'll click a button that says complete, continue. This next step just mentions what I'm talking about now. Pathright is a learning management system. Each learner gets their own path outline to track progress, get feedback, and share content. And on your screen, you'll have a little button to click and move forward. The fourth of fifth past steps talks about broadband. As I referenced starting off, broadband has become critical for not only the class, but your business relationships and how you can conduct your advocacy in your community. And what Karen and I have found, that broadband is sometimes an misunderstood phrase. It's sad that we assume that we have a high-speed internet throughout the country, but we don't. We've definitely seen it with a diversity of students throughout the country. So we've kind of learned to bring up the topic of broadband and make yourself aware of it. One of the tools that we encourage is something called a speed test. And you'll find yourself running a speed test not only on your desktop at home, but maybe on your phone. and it helps you to understand a little bit about how the high-speed internet is behaving at that time, at that moment. So when you run a speed test, and I'm running a speed test on Karen's system, it does a download speed first and then an upload speed. Of course, the advertisements have to be stuck into it on the side, and that's what slows it down. So you'll start monitoring, just like you have in your professional career with patients, an indicator of your high-speed internet. Karen's internet here is very good with the cable broadband and download. However, upload is a little bit marginal. And what we've learned is if a whole lot of people in the area get on and they're downloading movies, they're doing Zoom calls, understanding these pieces of information help you to understand what is happening in regards to, oh, I can't see the individual real well on the Zoom call. Your video isn't optimized to the full resolution because you have maybe poor broadband, and then you start noticing how the audio starts becoming choppy. That audio is usually an indicator of a poor upload speed. And monitoring these two pieces of information, you'll see not only for class, but for also your business relationship, it is kind of helpful to understand. Karen, do you want to add anything in addition
No,
to broadband?
you're doing great. Sonia, I think it was your broadband speed that was a little choppy with your voice. So it'll be interesting to see what your upload speed is, just FYI. So we all may from time to time have choppy uploads or downloads, especially during storms. And so it's also important, Mark will get into this, about the kind of devices you use too.
Yes, absolutely. But again, this is an indicator that helps you to understand what you're paying for in regards to internet. One of my part-time jobs is to advocate for broadband in Western North Carolina. And the federal government has money available to increase high-speed internet and make it available for everybody, so it's not a digital divide. And you'll see that it is an outstanding tool to have in your business relationships, and actually can become part of your expense tracking to cover that. I'm very pleased. It looks like everybody here is pretty Zoom savvy, but there are a couple of steps if you want to click on the link, discover Zoom's capabilities, and learn how to set up your account. I think everybody's here. You're doing good. I see your names. It gives me the impression that you've done Zoom before. However, if you want to revisit learning a little bit more about joining a meeting with Zoom, there is a link we have available. When you're through with your past step, you click a button on the bottom. And every single half step will always end with a placeholder where the class recording will be. So we're actually in the class right now, so I've just got a placeholder of Roman architecture. Sometime tomorrow, Friday at the latest, I'll upload the video so that you can replay it. And as Karen indicated earlier, this becomes helpful. We all have things that happen in life, and if you happen to need to miss a class, this is where you can quickly and easily find the Zoom recordings. You can backtrack, move forward as we update the content, and provide that structure to you. This will be available through you, Karen, I guess, with the July 31st, July, August, September, October, usually about 3 months after the end of the class. We leave Pathwrite available for your reference. You know, if there's slides and handouts that the instructor asks to share, we try and provide that in this, in addition to Karen's email. And it just becomes kind of a backbone of your learning experience with the RN patient advocacy class. Are there any questions about Pathwrite and the functionality available to each of us throughout the country? So Karen and I get these little indicators where the students are in the class as they go through this, and we might give you a little nudge to remind you that this is available for you. You're making an investment in your time and financially, and the assets of your learning experience will be in this LMS throughout the classes through July 31st, and then a grace period of 3 months afterwards. I feel like I'm missing something, Karen. You have some outstanding students here. They seem to be tech savvy and
Love that.
Zoom
We love-
savvy and learning savvy, more importantly.
So Lisa just asked a question and she said, when can we expect to get the email with the Pathright link, Mark?
So I believe, let's see here. I have seen my screen is behaving a little weird. I have a couple students I need to add, and you know, in the next several days, um, if you don't receive it or not sure, give me a call at 704-773-5168 or send me an email at Marc Zarnecki at RN Patient Advocacy, and I'll send you the link to try again. It is mobile friendly. So we all live in a world where desktop is ideal, but mobile phones, sometimes iPads are necessary for the mobility of what we do, and including the learning experience. It's a little bit different setting up a bookmark for your Apple iPhone Safari and getting into Pathright, but it is mobile friendly to help assist you in the backbone on that. So by next week, we should have 100% of everybody in Pathright. You're not missing anything if you're not in it right now. This is intended to be a supporting tool for Karen's content, which is very dynamic. And even though she's laid out an outline through the 31st, we've kind of learned to go week by week, adding content, not only from the previous class, but the future class. And again, the reminder is kind of helpful to allow the Pathright system to say, oh, 15 minutes before class, be thinking about it. The email comes to you that Karen has on file that I have, and that's the Pathright Learning Management System.
Great. Is that it for you, Mark, tonight?
At this time,
Do you just want to briefly mention about cell phones and laptops and how they might affect your reception quickly?
well, your broadband cable or fiber to your home, it could be copper, it is limited into the technology ability to upload and download files. So generally speaking, having a newer computer with a faster processor, more RAM memory helps to process these internet heavy functions, specifically video. Video takes a ton of bandwidth, and audio does as well. So by having a faster, newer computer or a faster mobile phone, that helps the processing of that data. Your broadband, DSL, fiber, or cable has limitations in that it may not just be you, but if you have other individuals in your home, in your complex, in your node, that can affect the broadband connection. So this is where we've learned, for whatever technology reason, if you're not able to join us, the recording will be available for you on Pathright, and it has worked well, you know, in supporting you as a student. in the RN patient advocacy class. So
Okay, Mark. Thank you. Is there anything else for you?
no, I'm just super proud. I have a sister in California that's a nurse. She works for a dermatologist. My daughter's a nurse in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm actually a SCORE volunteer as well. SCORE is just a volunteer arm of the Small Business Administration of America, and the resources are just unbelievable that are available for you for free. I lived in Vermont as a young teenager, and my father in the textile industry brought me and my family to North Carolina. I am a first generation American. My mom's from Germany, my father's from Belgium. So learning the American way, including the healthcare system, has always been a challenge, and I'm glad to be part of your support team here.
Thank you, Mark. Can you stop sharing and we'll do takeaways? And then everybody gets to get out of here early tonight. Yay. So, so at the end of each class, we'll talk about a takeaway or two, and we'll go around the room, and then we won't do that so you want our addresses and phone numbers? Yes, I think I have them all. How about I think I've got them all. And if I don't have them, I will call you and say, I don't have you, but I think I've got you all, which is great. And then the other question is it okay with everyone that you share each other's phone numbers and emails? Is there anybody that has a problem with that here? Okay, wonderful. And yes, Luann, we are going to have another fabulous SCORE teacher come and talk about SCORE. His name is Tom Mock, and he is the executive of the SCORE chapter here. Was in Asheville, but I think he's for all of North Carolina now. So he's very, very amazing, talking about all the free classes that you can get to help you set up your own business. It's amazing. And they're all free, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things to look at. So it's great. So then why don't we do a takeaway? So my takeaway is I'm amazed at the diversity and the amount of experience and stories that you've all shared, and I can't wait to get to know each of you. So I'm very excited about that. So, okay, Luann, what's your takeaway for tonight?
Well, I'm pretty excited to have met all of you. I'm very impressed. And I know that you'll add to the course, as we are sharing, and even our questions coming from different angles will help to broaden everything. And I'm most excited about the business components of this because that is not my strong point. So you've done a fabulous job at really the training structure for that. So kudos. Woo!
Yay. Okay, thank you. And Jennifer, what about you? Your takeaways?
My takeaway was kind of the same. Wow. All the different universes that we have been in conglomeratively, and worked in. The ironic thing is, Sonia, I was actually looking on a website today for a VA position or see what VA positions were available. And there were some that had to do with specifically reservations and nurses for them. And I was like, wow. I guess in my little naive mind, never having come across that before, did not realize that that was a thing. So kind of ironic, and yay to you for everything you've done. I'm looking forward to the class and just to see what comes of it. And my dog is too.
Okay, thank you. And Matthew, what about you?
Well, I just got the feeling that we could have shared, for a whole week, and we were just hitting tips of the iceberg on everyone. So it just blows my mind how, just the lives we have lived and how it in some way kind of all threads together and brought us here. So that blows me away. And for me too, it's the business component and helping me organize myself to move into my next steps is so helpful. I've always felt like I've needed a manager, and this is kind of the management I need. So thank you.
Totally awesome. Thank you. Okay, Lisa Nowicki, what about you?
Oh, yeah. Um, well, I'm excited to get to know everyone and network and learn the things you have to teach us, Karen. And yeah, really excited about the business aspect too. I feel like that's not a strong point for me. So I need all the help I can get. So thank you and looking forward.
Thank you. And Sabrina.
Well, I liked meeting everybody. It seems like we have a really good group. I'm excited about that. I loved the list of guest speakers. I'm really excited that we have so many people that get to share their expertise and kind of what they're great at. And then I know we talked about this before on the phone, Karen, but I was really glad that you have it so specifically outlined and organized, because there are so many people that can talk about, pie in the sky, this kind of ethereal, you get to have your own business, a hypothetical. And I think sometimes we do get attached to that idea, and then somehow between that idea and putting it into implementation and getting patients, we get lost. And so I think the fact that, we're really going through the steps as far as, okay, this is how you would do your website. This is how you would get an EIN. Like, let's actually check your ANA website for your state. Those are all things that I'm really excited about doing, because I really think it closes the gap between the idea and the dream, and actually like putting it into practice. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sabrina. And Lisa S.
Well, I want to say thank you again for everybody to be so open with their comments, because I think that makes a huge difference to all of us. But I think some of the things that I have seen from your syllabus looks very interesting. I'm very excited that it's not just speakers and not just talking about business practices, but actually talking about nursing care for each other and ourselves. So I think that's hugely important and something that we oftentimes miss. That old adage where nurses eat their young. Unfortunately, it's still true. And not only do we eat our young, but we also eat other people when we do it. I'm looking forward to find some other venues in order to help these people not do that.
Great. Thank you. And Liz, what about you?
I am in the same spot as far as like the business side being so important. It's stopped me so many times. And also in talking to Chelsea yesterday, I was excited to be in a group where the focus is holistic and caring. It just felt really genuine. It feels genuine. And it looks like you've got a treasure trove for us, and I'm really excited.
Great. Thank you. And Sonia.
It takes me a minute to get unmuted. I'm just like everybody else. I'm excited. I'm excited for the next 5 months because I'm the same way. The business plan, that part has always kept me from doing, going further. And so I feel like with everything that's on the syllabus, I feel like it's going to be really helpful in everything that we're planning on doing for our clinic, and even bring in other new ideas or suggestions. And so I'm just really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. And Marc, what about you?
I'm just super impressed with, today's Valentine's Day, and in our hearts, we have advocacy here, and specifically in Asheville, we are an older community, and Karen will talk in the future about her advocacy in the community and how it's necessary. You bring your skills and that diversity, and it's important for your community to know you are there to help them. And very happy that you're part of this team.
Thank you, Mark. So, all right, you get out 15 whole minutes early today. Yay! So we'll see you next Wednesday, and I will probably show up again early next week at 6:30 in case you have any issues or questions or problems. And we'll start class at 7. And next week we'll have Dr. Linda Bark here, who's owner, founder of Wisdom of the Whole Coaching Academy. I think she's been coaching for 50 years. She was my coach. And then after I went through her class, I went up to her and said, "Can you help me become a coach?" So she's a phenomenal speaker, and it'll be fun to hear everybody else's experience with coaching teachers. But anyway, all right. So Godspeed, everyone. Great to be with you and your energy, and can't wait to see you next week. Okay. Have fun. See you later. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Bye.